It's morning, and that means it's time for Rotten Mornings. The best way to start your morning off rotten.
Good morning, friends. This is another episode of Rotten Mornings. Glad you guys are joining this morning. I'm hoping that this podcast will upload. I hadn't really slept. It's been a kind of a crazy night. For those of you who are listening outside of the area, we just got through another major hurricane. This is about the fourth one that I have been through this season, and the damage here is rather catastrophic. So I've been moving limbs out of roads and checking on damage everywhere now that the hurricane has passed over. There's no power anywhere, but the house is okay and cars are safe. Matt's not joining me for this episode. It's rather early and he had a rather late night and I did as well. So anyway, I still want to have a podcast out for you guys. So welcome to the podcast. I hope you guys all made it through okay. I hope that everyone in the Rotten family and everyone in the Haunt family has made it through this one unscathed. It was bad. This was a bad one. This was a pretty terrifying one to go through. So kind of want to go over what we saw on Rotten Reviews yesterday. We did have some pretty cool stuff. So I hope you guys all joined us for those things. We hit a milestone yesterday. We hit 2,100 new likes, and guys, that's absolutely phenomenal. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. This is a labor of love, and without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this. We absolutely love you guys. We think that you're all just incredible, amazing people. And thank you so much for the support that you guys have shown us and the love that you guys have shown us. It's really touching how much you guys have come out and supported this kind of crazy thing that we've done. And thank you. That's really all I can say about that is thank you guys so incredibly much. Yesterday morning, we had the second of our series in Cursed Films, and we were joined with Brandy, and we always love to have Brandy on the show. She adds a whole nother flair to it, and her research and the things that she adds is absolutely wonderful. So thank you so much, Brandy, for joining us for that podcast. This morning, we'll get to that here in a second. But anyway, that was the podcast yesterday. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a hoot to do. Later on in the afternoon, we had another episode of Rotten Strips. That was just kind of some very unofficial reviews, and not even that. Just kind of like, hey, here's some stuff that's going on out there. Some spooky fun that you guys can have. It really wasn't supposed to be like that. Just with the time frame and the footage I had and the very short window to put together a episode, that's kind of what happened. And so, again, those aren't official reviews or anything. That was just some, hey, here's some spooky fun to go out and do. So if you guys check that out, there was some neat stuff in there. After that, we had the Grimm story time. If you guys have been keeping up with that series, that's a lot of fun. Grimm is really fun with what she does, and watching her has been a pleasure. She's been a much much welcome addition to the Rotten family. So thank you so much, Graham, for doing those, and for Matt for putting those together. I have a blast watching those. If you haven't checked those out, go check them out. She was a spooky clown this time, and her makeups and her costumes are always lots of fun to watch. After that, we had a live, and man, just a lot of cool stuff with the live. I hope you guys were checking that out and enjoying some of that stuff that you see. Yeah. So that was yesterday. Cool. So then we've got some stuff coming up today, and I'm trying to make sure that I put that information out there of what we have today in the right way. Things may have changed or may change because it has kind of been a stranger day. Let's see, according to our calendar, the 29th, we possibly may have another episode of We Are Not Alone. And nope. No, that's not right. Is that right? Well, I'm not sure. I know that we'll have this. We'll have this Rotten Mournings, and then we should have another episode of Rotten Strips this afternoon around 7. So anyway, we also possibly might have a live tonight, depending on what happens this afternoon. Right now, things are up in the air, and that's all I can tell you. Jeez, what a crazy night it has been so far. Anyway, in just a minute, we're going to jump over into the sub-natural section. We are taking a break from the cursed films for this episode, and we're going to play some footage that we had recorded previously with Grimm that we hadn't had a chance to release yet. When we originally recorded it, the audio wasn't amazing, and I've kind of gone in and tried to touch it up to where you could hear it a little bit better. So it's kind of a rougher one than some of the ones that we've had, but hopefully it should still be pretty entertaining. If you guys remember the episode 0 of Rotten Mournings, Matt and I discussed how we would never make a podcast about mummies, and then after we discussed that, Grimm and Matt had a discussion where Grimm kind of schooled him on, like, yeah, mummies are a thing and you should pay attention to them. So whereas me and Matt couldn't have an episode of mummies, me and Grimm did, and it was a lot of fun to have that interview. I hope you guys enjoy that. And yeah, that's it for that. Again, let us know that you guys are safe, because it has been a crazy night. And again, thank you guys for all your support and everything that you guys do. We're going to jump to break. For those of you who aren't joining us for that break, you guys have a rotten morning, and stay rotten. Hi guys, and welcome to a special episode of the supernatural portion of Rotten Mournings, part of the Rotten Productions daily broadcast. Today we'll be hearing audio from a previously recorded interview with Grim Lens. We're talking today about mummies. Hi there. Guys, we are talking about mummies today. If you guys heard, what's that?
I say, ooh.
Yeah. If you guys heard the preview episode where me and Matt discuss not making an episode about mummies, then this is a revisit to that. I'm pretty excited. Are you excited?
Not at all.
That's fantastic. I was lying about being excited.
I'm actually excited, so.
Guys, if you can't tell, that's not Matt talking. As much as I have tried to make him sound more feminine, that is Grim Lens. Grim, thank you so much for joining us.
I would say I'm happy to be here, but I'm kidding. I am.
Yay! I mean, either way, I was going to make the yay sound. I already had it planned out. It was in the script. So,
You have a script?
mummies. I have a script. I didn't send you the
I
script.
do not.
Oh, this is. You know what? I'm just going to throw the script out. Forget it. We're not going to use it now. Ridiculous. So if you caught our last episode about mummies, we talked about or we postulated that mummies are just a zombie story. That was one of the things that came out of that. And my argument was that that is true in one regard, but also the mythos of mummies also is there's more curses to it. But you have a different take on it. Is that right? Grim? God, found it.
Hello?
Hey. So I was saying, you have a different take on it than what we discussed, right?
I do. I
Well,
do. So,
could you tell us?
yes, when it comes to mummies, typically the heart is left out of the body. The heart is left in the body while all the other organs are taken out, including the brain, which is the main thing that keeps a zombie running, so to speak. So mummies do not rely on brain function because they are inhabited by spirits who are typically evil, or it was their previous spirit or energy that inhabited the body. So mostly it seems to be rage that drives this type of energy. So that's why they are typically considered evil. Mummies are able to rip you apart, rip you to shreds, really. And when it comes to zombies, they are attracted to flesh, or in some cases, brains. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
So mummies. You think most mummies are more rage oriented?
I do, and that's mostly for the fact of, say, when it comes to ancient Egyptian mummies. I have no idea what's going on here.
This happens to me and Matt constantly. That's why the episodes are awful, and that's okay. The last thing I recorded was you saying ancient Egyptian mummies.
Yes, well, mummification happened all over the world. It's just that ancient Egypt had perfected it, so to speak, and that's why it's the staple of mummies. That's why you see most of them wrapped in cloth bandages and whatnot. So,
Wow, that's
hopefully
really
this
cool.
doesn't cut out again.
No, maybe not. And maybe I'll just cut out all your part anyway.
It would probably be better then.
I try to cut out me and Matt's part, but the episode is much better when we do that.
I have no idea what's actually being recorded and what's not, or what I've said, or what I've repeated. So,
That's fine. That's fine. That all tracks and that works. Okay, so I guess the thing that about mummies for me, I don't know when the concept or the mythos of mummies, like currently, I think like King Tut, King Ramses, those mummies are kind of iconic because of the curses, and the male mummies are the thing that we think of. I mean, the Universal Studios mummy was a male mummy. Often we see male mummies, but the original stories of mummies were female mummies, and they were like come back and they were kind of seductresses. And that's not something that stayed a part of the mythos. It changed to more male oriented somewhere along the way, but I'm not sure when.
I'm not sure about that either, but I know there are more male mummies because of the pharaoh aspect. It was males were more dominant and higher in status. They're the head of the household and different things like that. And with
Hmm.
King Tut, he did, I do believe, that he did have curses placed throughout his tomb when it was found. The one who found him was Howard Carter. He was discovered in the Valley of the Kings in the 1920s in Egypt. And discovery was made by pure chance. It was actually his little boy. It was a little boy who was on his team who was happened to be, fetching Carter some water, and he tripped over a statue which led into the tunnel of the tomb for King Tut. And King
So
Tut's
wait,
tomb had a warning. Do it.
you're saying that one of the most important archaeological discoveries was done by the water boy?
Yes, he's the one who pretty much found it. He tripped over the statue that was poking out of the sand while he was
Happy
running.
little accidents.
Yeah, right. Uh,
That's very Bob Ross way of telling that story. I love it.
but King Tut's tomb had a lot of warnings inscribed on it in hieroglyphs and everything, and they were
Hmm.
curses for any who opened the tomb and disturbed the body. The inscriptions actually say that those who disturb it will receive diseases that no doctor could diagnose. And that's exactly what happened. The man
Mm.
who funded Carter's excavation was the first one to enter the tomb, and he died. They said that he died of pneumonia and a blood infection from a mosquito bite. But I do find it strange that he died just days after entering the tomb.
Yeah.
Um, Carter actually gifted a friend, or it might have been his half brother, a mummified hand, and it had a curse written on it. It was a curse consisting of something about fire and water. So soon after that, the man's house burned to the ground. He rebuilt his
Wow.
house. Yeah, he rebuilt his house and it was hit by a flood. The man, of course, got rid of the cursed hand.
That's really interesting. I didn't put those together, but there is a horror film, and we discussed it on a previous podcast where I was terrified of a film called The Hand with Five Fingers. And unless I'm mistaken, I believe it's that story.
It might be based on it, could
Yeah,
possibly.
I think it is. I had forgotten that dismembered hand was distributed. That's a really cool thing.
Yeah, but there was also a prince and a governor who both died within a year of visiting King Tut's tomb, and a British man who went blind and ended up dying of blood poisoning after visiting the tomb. All of this happened within a year, like not even an entire year. And once the British man entered, he actually stated while he was in there that something dreadful was going to happen to his family. So he knew something bad was going to happen. He could feel it. And the man who x rayed King Tut's tomb died as well, and no one knows how. No doctor could find a diagnosis for the disease. And that's what exactly is what the curse stated. No doctor would be able to find or diagnose the disease. So,
I wonder if
my
that
mind.
was like prophecy in like, hey, you guys are gonna come down with diseases that are going to be easily determined what they are in the future, but you're going to find, you're going to find the body uh, in a time where medicine hasn't gotten to that point yet.
It makes you think. You never know.
Wouldn't that be neat? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really cool. I, oh man, that's that opens up a lot of different things. I know that Aleister Crowley spent his honeymoon, I believe, there.
I did not know that.
I know he spent it in one of the pyramids, um, close to where one of the mummies was found, and he reported. Of course, that was supposed to be a very haunted, very cursed place, and I think his only Yelp review of it was that the floor was very hard to sleep on.
Hmm.
Not a
Oh,
not
you
a
learned something
terribly
new.
yeah yeah, probably not a very terribly romantic honeymoon there, but I'm not Crowley. I don't know his life.
Oh, and I had just recently finished the podcast episode of zombies that you and Matt did. Um, I think it was episode 7. I'm not exactly sure.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to just expand a little bit more on what Matt was saying on iconic zombie scenes and such.
Sure.
Um, he stated it was one of his iconic zombie scenes where the zombie was crawling. He thought it was a little boy. It's not. It's actually a woman. And
Right.
I believe that scene was in The Walking Dead, and it was a bicycle, not a tricycle. Matt, you are wrong. His character's name, the character's name is Hannah, and in reality, I think her name is Lily Birdshell, and she may have actually been a guest at Sloss Furnace years ago to sign autographs, like it was a meet and greet.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Now that was a really, really iconic scene, the crawling zombie.
Yeah, I can't remember which one of us I think I probably am the one who messed that up.
No, it was Matt. He messed it up for sure.
For sure. Okay. You know
Yeah.
what? I'm okay going with that. So I guess there are mummies like currently. I mean, there's still mummification occurring in the world today,
There is.
and probably will always be.
Yeah, such as like certain Buddhist monks. I believe there is also a sap they drink that when they're getting ready to mummify themselves, so
Hmm.
to speak, while they're alive, they'll drink the sap and it causes them to vomit certain fluids and such. And also, that sap will keep away certain insects that eat rotting corpses. So, yeah, that's one of the things they do.
I know there, and I'm not sure if it's Buddhism or if it's a form of zazen, but I do know of certain monks of a certain religious order that when their time to pass on or whatever comes, they go into a deep, or there's recordings of these people who go into a deep meditative state
Yes.
for like years and decades and like hundreds of decades. And when they see the body, it's a mummified body, but like there's still evidence that there's still life in this body somehow.
Mhm. It seems
So
like that. That's something I need to dig more into because very interesting to me.
to me as well. I think that that's really your cheat. Anytime any cheat of death is kind of neat, but also any uh, taking yourself out of the purely physical realm into something greater or different is really kind of fascinating.
Exactly, and it's so beautiful to think about as well.
Hmm.
But
So,
mummies, when they're inhabited, they leave the heart inside, and that's supposed to be the vessel and the connection into the afterlife. That's what the spirit supposedly attaches itself to.
hearts play a very important role in so many supernatural stories. A stake through the heart, of course, is a vampire thing. But
Mm-hmm.
for some reason, I'm thinking about Mary Shelley. Mary Shelley's husband, Percy Blythe Shelley, he died at sea. Now, he was one of the three people at the campfire stories. They're sitting around the fire telling ghost stories, which is where the story of Frankenstein came from, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's Mary Shelley, it's Percy Blythe Shelley, and it's also Lord Byron, Clubfoot. And so, but Percy dies at sea, and Mary and Lord Byron are, very distraught. His body comes ashore, and they burn his body, but all of his body burns except for his heart. I always thought that was really poetic.
That is
So I don't
very
know, like how I don't know if that influences parts of the actual writing of Frankenstein. I know the story came from the kind of the fireplace chats, but the actual book, I wonder if that the heart remaining was kind of the thing.
cool. It is something to think about. So,
But hearts have nothing to do with zombies.
no, because they rely on brain function, whether it's kickstarted by biological warfare or anything of the sort, it is tied to their brain more so.
Hmm.
So in some movies, it's a shot to the brain. In some movies, it's you burn them or you just cut their heads off or anything like that. It's got to do with the brain. Versus mummies, they do not have a brain. It has been taken out. They don't need one.
So how do you kill a zombie? I mean, I did the wrong thing. What are we talking about? Where am I? Who's this?
What's going on here?
What's going on
I don't
here?
know. I don't even know who the hell you're talking to.
Oh,
Just a voice inside your
oh my God! Is it Wednesday? The
head.
how do we kill
I
a
cannot
mummy?
tell you the day. What? How do you kill
How?
a mummy?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that you somehow disconnect the connection that it has. So, one way I feel could be destroying all the organs that are in the jars that was next to its sarcophagi or anything like that. You destroy that, a lot of it could be magically inclined, so it might rely on reciting different types of spells or different things like that. Or
Okay.
maybe it's got to finish what it's there for, killing off a certain bloodline of people who have wronged it or anyone who has disturbed its final resting place. They must die first for it to pass on. I believe there's a lot more into that, of course. So
Okay. Do you think that the mummy films were accurate?
the Mummy films,
Mm-hmm.
like the ones with Brendan Fraser or with
Uh-huh.
no.
Yeah. You
They
don't
were
think
very
that
fun to
those?
watch, and I loved watching them very much as a part of my childhood. But I wouldn't say they were completely accurate. It was very fun though.
I
So
because I thought they were documentaries.
they could have been based off of documentaries, certain parts of it, but it's very Hollywood. I mean, of course you could see that. That's all.
Oh, so that didn't happen.
Did I just kill your dream? What happened here?
I I mean I feel like you tried to, but I've already done the curse on my
You're
dream.
stuck. You're stuck in your ways. That's fine.
I've already mummified my dreams, so they will be returning in a later
Okay, well, don't let
podcast.
me mess that up. Don't let me ruin anything for you. I'm no expert in anything, and I do not claim to be.
So, is there a mummy film that you recommend?
Mm, that I recommend?
Hmm.
Hmm, that is a tough question. The I do love the Resident Evil, the mutated type of zombies. That was something different, completely different. Most of them are their own genre of zombie films.
Right.
Dawn of the Dead, where they run extremely fast because running zombies are a lot scarier than the walking ones.
Sure.
Um, and there is one that rattled me very, very much so. Um, it's Day of the Dead Bloodline, and that simply it's the main zombie in the film. where the dude before he's turned is a stalker, and he's a stalker of this one chick, and after he turned he has his memories and he's completely obsessed with her, and could even talk like he that I just it rattled me. I didn't like it. I mean, it was a great movie and everything, but just made me think like glad that can't happen. Hopefully it cannot.
I for different reasons, but also that reason, I hope that it cannot. Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of that happening
Her
today.
name, I think it was Zoe or Chloe or something like that, and the way he was saying her name and his mouth was twitching and moving out. Oh no. It
That's
was too much.
awesome. It was too much. I don't like it.
It's too much.
That's funny. Cool. All right. Well, is there anything else that you want to add in this special mummy edition that we got going on here?
Ooh, there's always a shit ton I could. Can I cuss?
No, no. This is a
No.
no,
Oh
no.
no.
You can't say shit. You can't say anything like that.
You just said it.
Oh shit.
I was hoping I didn't ruin anything. I always try to ask beforehand,
It's totally okay. If you listened to the yesterday morning's podcast or watched the new episode of Rotten Strips, you realize our language was very potty language.
sometimes I skipped the Bigfoot one. I need to go back and watch that one. I say watch, listen, but sometimes I just can't tolerate too much of you guys' voice, so I have to give it a
Oh,
break.
that's totally fair. We feel exactly the same
I'm
way.
kidding. Maybe.
We were on that boat, and very much so. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll have you back for another podcast soon.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, yes. You guys have a rotten morning.
Yeah.